Some experts now fear the man-made earthquakes from North Korea's hydrogen bomb test could trigger an eruption of Mount Paektu, a volcanic mountain located on the country's border with China.
For centuries, the deadly volcanic giant that is Mount Paektu has slept beneath its serene heaven lake, but now scientists have made a terrifying discovery. Unlike regular volcanoes, it is a supervolcano with the power to cause global climate disruption and devastate entire regions. Recent seismic activity and unexpected cracks deep under the Earth's surface suggest something is stirring under Mount Paektu. Does this mean Mount Paektu waking up again? And could it trigger another catastrophic eruption? Stay tuned, because what we're about to reveal will blow your mind. The awakening of the supervolcano. Just like every other supervolcano that exists in the world today, there is a huge chance Mount Paektu might erupt soon. But why exactly would that happen, seeing as it is nicknamed the Sleeping Giant? Well, despite its dubbed alias, Mount Paektu has a history of terrible eruptions. Mount Paektu, also known as Changbai Mountain, is a massive volcano that sits on the border between China and North Korea. It is one of the most powerful volcanoes in the world, even though many people have never heard of it. This is because the mountain is located in a remote area, and the political situation between China and North Korea has made it difficult for scientists to study the volcano closely. Mount Paektu's most famous eruption happened in the year 946 CE. This eruption is known as the Millennium Eruption and is considered one of the largest volcanic eruptions in recorded history. Scientists classify volcanic eruptions using the Volcanic Explosivity Index, also known as VEI, which ranges from 0 to 8. The Millennium Eruption was a VEI 6 event, which means it was extremely powerful. To put this in perspective, a VEI 6 eruption can produce an explosion that sends more than 2.4 cubic miles of volcanic material into the air. And Mount Paektu's eruption in 946 CE is believed to have ejected up to 24 cubic miles of ash, pumice, and rock. The blast was so strong that it blew off the top of the mountain, creating a massive caldera, which is a large crater formed when the summit of a volcano collapses. Today, this caldera is filled with water and is known as Heaven Lake. The Millennium Eruption didn't just affect the area around Mount Paektu. The ash cloud traveled thousands of kilometers, with ash deposits found as far away as Japan and Greenland. If a similar eruption happened today, it would put millions of lives at risk, disrupt air travel across East Asia, and damage economies in countries like China, North Korea, South Korea, and Japan. Things don't end there. In recent years, there have been worrying signs that Mount Paektu might be reawakening. Since 2002, scientists have recorded an increase in seismic activity, which are small earthquakes and tremors, in the area. These earthquakes suggest that magma may be moving beneath the volcano, which can be an early sign that an eruption could happen in the future. The ground around the volcano has also shown signs of inflation, which is a process where the surface swells due to the buildup of magma underground. One of the biggest challenges in studying Mount Paektu is its location. The mountain lies on the border between China and North Korea, and the political situation makes it hard for international scientists to access the area. While Chinese researchers have been able to conduct some studies on their side of the border, North Korea has been more secretive about its findings. In 2011, a rare collaboration between Chinese and North Korean scientists allowed for more data to be gathered, but much remains unknown. Experts warn that if Mount Paektu were to erupt again at the same scale as the Millennium Eruption, the consequences would be devastating. Modern-day East Asia is much more densely populated than it was in 946 CE. The region includes major cities like Beijing, Seoul, and Pyongyang. An eruption could trigger mass evacuations, destroy infrastructure, and release enough volcanic ash to block sunlight, affecting agriculture and global climate patterns. Apart from the physical dangers, Mount Paektu also has cultural and historical significance. It is considered a sacred mountain in both Korean and Chinese traditions. In Korean mythology, it is believed to be the birthplace of Dangun, the legendary founder of the First Korean Kingdom. North Korea's ruling family, the Kim dynasty, has often used the mountain in its propaganda, claiming that Kim Jong-il, the country's former leader, was born there in 1942. This symbolic importance adds another layer of complexity to any discussions about the volcano's future. Now, although there is a lot of information about Mount Paektu's nature as a supervolcano, scientists have always been puzzled by its origins and strange volcanic patterns. Keep watching to find out why. The mystery of Mount Paektu's origin. For years, scientists have been puzzled not just by Mount Paektu's power, but by its strange and unexpected location. Most volcanoes in the world form along tectonic plate boundaries, which are places where the Earth's plates meet and move against each other. Yet, Mount Paektu is far from any plate boundary, and this has made its origin a deep geological mystery. To understand why Mount Paektu's location is so unusual, it is important to know how most volcanoes are formed. Typically, volcanoes are created in areas where tectonic plates interact. In a process called subduction, one plate moves beneath another, melts due to intense heat and pressure, and forms magma, which is the molten rock that erupts to the surface. This is why many famous volcanoes, like those along the Ring of Fire in the Pacific Ocean, are found near these plate boundaries. But Mount Paektu does not sit near any of these edges. It is located deep within the Eurasian plate, far away from the regions where plates are colliding or pulling apart. Things don't end there. What made this even more interesting was the interaction between the trapped slab and the surrounding mantle material. The stagnant Pacific plate was not just a cold, dead piece of rock. It carried with it water and other elements from the oceanic crust. When this water-rich material met the hot mantle, it triggered a chemical reaction that produced magma, even though there was no active subduction happening at the surface. This process, known as mantle melting, created the conditions needed for volcanic activity, providing Mount Paektu with a hidden source of magma despite its distance from any tectonic plate boundary. Another important clue came from studying the gases released by the volcano. In 2017, researchers detected high levels of helium-3, a rare isotope that usually comes from the deep mantle rather than the crust. This confirmed that Mount Paektu's magma was not coming from shallow sources, but from deep within the Earth, likely connected to the stagnant Pacific plate in the transition zone. The complex geological processes under Mount Paektu show that volcanoes do not always follow simple rules. While most volcanoes form at tectonic plate boundaries, Mount Paektu is an example of how ancient geological events can create hidden pathways for magma, leading to eruptions in unexpected places. The presence of the stagnant Pacific plate, combined with water-rich mantle materials, explains why this powerful volcano exists so far from any plate boundary. While Mount Paektu's tectonic formation is odd as it is, scientists have still gone ahead to make breakthroughs regarding the supervolcano. Stick around because you don't want to miss what we're about to show you. Scientific investigations and breakthroughs regarding Mount Paektu. One of the most important discoveries about Mount Paektu came through the use of seismic tomography, which is a technique that works like a CT scan for the Earth. Seismic tomography uses the way seismic waves, which means caused by earthquakes, move through the Earth to create images of what lies deep below the surface. In the early 2000s, scientists began studying Mount Paektu more closely because of unusual volcanic activity, including a series of small earthquakes recorded between 2002 and 2005. These earthquakes suggested something was happening beneath the volcano, and it was something that could point to the movement of magma or changes in pressure underground. By analyzing the seismic waves traveling under Mount Paektu, researchers made a groundbreaking discovery. They found that the volcano's magma does not come from a typical hotspot or subduction zone, like most volcanoes. Instead, the magma seems to come from a surprising source, a stalled piece of the Pacific plate trapped deep within the Earth's mantle. This piece of the Pacific plate had once been part of the ocean floor, but it sank into the mantle millions of years ago. What made this discovery even more fascinating was the role of the mantle transition zone, which is a layer of the Earth's mantle located between 255 and 410 miles beneath the surface. Scientists found that this transition zone beneath Northeast Asia contained large amounts of water, which was not liquid water like in the ocean, but water locked within the minerals of the mantle rocks. This water lowers the melting point of rocks, causing them to melt and form magma. As a result, magma is produced far from any plate boundary, challenging the long-standing theory that volcanoes only form along the edges of tectonic plates. In 2016, a major study led by geophysicists from China, North Korea, and the United Kingdom confirmed these findings. They used seismic data from both sides of the border to build a clearer picture of what was happening beneath Mount Paektu. Their research showed that the stagnant slab of the Pacific Plate in the mantle transition zone was interacting with the water-rich mantle material, creating a hot zone where magma was forming. This explained why Mount Paektu existed in such an unexpected location, which was far from the usual plate boundaries where most volcanoes are found. Another breakthrough came when scientists examined the chemical makeup of rocks and ash from Mount Paektu's past eruptions, including the Millennium eruption of 946 CE, which we mentioned earlier was one of the most powerful volcanic eruptions in recorded history. By studying the minerals within these volcanic materials, researchers confirmed that the magma had a unique signature, matching the composition of magma formed deep in the mantle transition zone. This further supported the theory that Mount Paektu's magma source was linked to the ancient water-rich mantle rather than the typical processes seen at subduction zones or mid-ocean ridges. These discoveries have had a significant impact on the field of geology. Before these studies, the traditional view was that volcanoes formed mainly through two processes, one of which was subduction zones where one tectonic plate sinks beneath another, causing magma to rise and create volcanoes like those found in the Ring of Fire. The second are hotspots where a plume of hot material rises directly from the deep mantle, forming volcanic chains like Hawaii. Unfortunately, Mount Paektu does not fit either of these patterns. Instead, it has forced scientists to rethink how magma can form in the absence of clear tectonic triggers. The idea that water trapped in the mantle transition zone could generate magma and create a volcano so far from a plate boundary is a groundbreaking shift in geological theory. These scientific investigations have also sparked global collaboration. Due to Mount Paektu's location along the politically sensitive China-North Korea border, research has required cooperation between scientists from multiple countries. In 2011, an international team of geologists, including researchers from the United Kingdom, began working with North Korean scientists to monitor seismic activity and gather data from the volcano. This collaboration has been crucial, as it has allowed scientists to combine data from both sides of the border to build a more complete picture of Mount Paektu's underground processes. By studying how magma forms and moves beneath Mount Paektu, scientists hope to improve their ability to predict future eruptions. Early warning systems depend on accurate data about what is happening underground, and the discoveries about the Pacific Plate fragment and the water-rich mantle have brought researchers one step closer to understanding the volcano's behavior. As researchers continue to study Mount Paektu, their work not only deepens our knowledge of Earth's inner workings, but also helps protect the millions of people living in the region from future volcanic eruptions.
Finally, collaboration between different countries, scientists, and organizations is crucial to understanding and addressing the complicated challenges facing the planet. The exact cause of these spikes remains a mystery, and further research is needed to understand their origins. The sudden and powerful underwater currents that the drone encountered added to the mystery. Unlike typical underwater currents driven by temperature differences or tides, these currents appeared to be influenced by unknown factors. The drone's sensors recorded these currents, which appeared and disappeared unpredictably. Some theories suggest that these currents could result from water displacement caused by seismic activity or underground shifts, but this hypothesis is not yet confirmed. The cave's unique topography, narrow passageways, and sudden depth changes might amplify these currents. The exact cause of these currents remains elusive, and scientists are still trying to understand their nature and origin. The conditions became increasingly harsh as the drone went deeper into Devil's Hole. The water pressure grew more intense, and the drone's lights flickered intermittently. At one point, the drone was tossed around by an invisible current, making it difficult to control. The erratic behavior of the drone's instruments and the sudden changes in the environment created a tense and dramatic situation for the team monitoring the footage. Despite these challenges, the drone successfully recorded valuable data and images, capturing unprecedented views of Devil's Hole. However, as it reached the deepest part of the cave, the drone's signals were lost, and it became clear that the exploration had reached its limits. The footage and data collected during this daring dive gave scientists new insights into Devil's Hole and raised more questions about the hidden mysteries of the cave. Scientific implications and speculations of the Devil's Hole expedition. There's an intriguing possibility that the Devil's Hole might be experiencing more complex interactions between its geological features and the surrounding environment. Even though the cave's magnetic anomalies could be linked to deeper and less understood geological processes, further studies are needed to explore whether these anomalies result from local geological activity or indicate something more profound about the Earth's magnetic field. The sudden and powerful underwater currents observed by the drone add another layer of mystery to Devil's Hole. Unlike typical currents driven by temperature gradients or tides, these currents appeared to be influenced by unknown factors. The unpredictability and strength of these currents suggest that underlying processes at work may not yet be understood. One theory is that these currents could be linked to seismic activity. The region's tectonic activity might displace water or create underground shifts that generate these currents. However, this hypothesis has not been conclusively proven. Another possibility is that the cave's unique topography, including its narrow passageways and sudden depth changes, might amplify the effects of these currents. The presence of unexplained currents in Devil's Hole raises questions about the cave's hydrodynamics. Scientists are investigating whether factors beyond the immediate area of the cave, such as interactions with larger underground water systems, influence these currents. Understanding the causes of these currents could provide insights into the cave's complex environment and its connections to other underground systems. The Devil's Hole is remarkable in its sensitivity to distant seismic activity. The cave's water levels have been observed to rise and fall dramatically in response to earthquakes occurring thousands of miles away. In a remarkable display of Earth's interconnectedness, a 7.6 magnitude earthquake off Mexico's coast triggered waves in Devil's Hole, over 1,500 miles away.
This is a big earthquake, or it's really close.
Just 5 minutes after the quake struck, the usually calm waters of this remote cave pool began to surge, creating waves up to 4 feet high. How did this happen? Devil's Hole is an unusual natural seismograph capable of detecting seismic activity from across the globe. As a result of its unique geological setup and advanced monitoring equipment, scientists were able to observe these dramatic waves caused by the distant earthquake. The pool's sensitivity is particularly pronounced with significant quakes, especially those along the Pacific Ring of Fire. This sensitivity suggests that Devil's Hole might be part of a larger, interconnected network of underground water systems. The phenomenon of distant earthquakes affecting Devil's Hole is known as a hydrological response. When seismic waves from an earthquake travel through the Earth's crust, they can cause changes in water levels in isolated bodies of water like Devil's Hole. Observing that even minor tremors from across the globe can trigger significant water level changes is fascinating and perplexing. Scientists speculate that Devil's Hole might be connected to a vast network of underground water channels that transmit seismic energy across great distances. This theory proposes that seismic waves could travel through these interconnected channels, causing water in Devil's Hole to react as if it were directly affected by the earthquake. This concept of a global network of underground water systems is still speculative, but offers a potential explanation for the cave's unusual hydrological responses. Given the weird nature of their findings, the scientists released the footage to the public. The extraordinary discoveries in Devil's Hole have sparked various speculations and conspiracy theories. Some researchers and observers have suggested that the government might hide information about the cave's true nature. The unexplained currents and sensitivity to global seismic events have led to suspicions that there might be more to Devil's Hole than publicly disclosed. One theory is that the government has known about Devil's Hole's secrets for years and deliberately kept them hidden. The lack of detailed information from official sources and reports of increased security around the cave fuels this theory. Critics argue that the government's reluctance to release all available data could be motivated by a desire to avoid public panic or conduct its own investigations secretly. So, what is the government saying about the matter? Government's response to the release of the drone footage. When the footage from the underwater drone went to the public, the world expected an immediate, explosive response from the authorities. After all, what could be more unsettling than seeing a place like Devil's Hole, a seemingly ordinary cave, harbor such eerie secrets beneath its surface? But the reaction from the National Park Service, the government body overseeing Devil's Hole, was almost too calm. In their official statement, the Park Service assured the public that the footage and data were being analyzed. They described the findings as unusual but under review. That's it. No alarming warnings, no dramatic revelations, just a quiet note that everything was being handled. But this nonchalant attitude raised more questions than it answered. If the findings were so mundane, why did they emphasize that the area was still being protected and that no additional visits would be allowed? What exactly were they studying? Were they telling us the whole story? Or was there something deeper, something more sinister, that they were keeping under wraps? Then came the unmarked vans. A few days after the footage surfaced, several Death Valley National Park visitors reported seeing unfamiliar vehicles and what appeared to be government personnel stationed near the entrance to Devil's Hole. Why the sudden interest? What were they guarding? Rumors spread quickly. Some believed that the government was hiding something far more terrifying than they were letting on, perhaps something dangerous or even otherworldly. Others suggested discoveries were being made and didn't want the public to know just yet. Was the unusual findings possibly more shocking than they were willing to admit? Could it be that the government's silence was a way to prevent mass panic? If so, what exactly were they afraid of? These questions hung in the air as more and more people speculated about what might lie beneath the surface of Devil's Hole. It wasn't just the mysterious government presence that got people talking. The footage, those strange formations and unexplained disturbances, set the media ablaze. News outlets quickly picked up the story, and it wasn't long before every corner of the internet was filled with theories about what the drone had captured. What was that peculiar shadow in the depths? Could it be a previously undiscovered creature or even something supernatural? Social media platforms excitedly buzzed as armchair investigators pored over every second of the footage. Conspiracy theorists, of course, had a field day. Was the government hiding evidence of extraterrestrial life? Were they covering up a potentially catastrophic environmental disaster? The theories, some wild and others more plausible, seemed endless. They wondered if the Devil's Hole was a portal to another world, or whether it was home to some ancient species we've yet to understand. The possibilities were endless and terrifying. As the footage continued circulating and people debated what was captured, a larger question loomed. How much should the public know? On one side of the argument were those who demanded full transparency, but others argued for caution. What if the whole truth led to mass hysteria? Revealing too much about the strange happenings in Devil's Hole could cause unnecessary panic. Worse, this knowledge might be dangerous in the wrong hands. It may be best to let the experts handle it behind closed doors. The debate raged on. Some people were desperate for answers, while others were content to wait. But one thing was certain: the mystery of Devil's Hole wasn't going away anytime soon. What had begun as a simple scientific expedition had now spiraled into one of the modern age's most captivating and terrifying mysteries. So what is the government hiding, if anything? And what do the findings from Devil's Hole mean for all of us? As speculation grows, one question remains: Will we ever get the full story? Theories and speculation about the Devil's Hole mystery. As the footage from the underwater drone continued to make waves worldwide, one thing became clear. This mystery was far from solved. Experts, enthusiasts, and conspiracy theorists alike couldn't resist diving deep into the unknown. What exactly was lurking beneath Devil's Hole? Was it something natural, or could it be something far more sinister? Theories quickly emerged, each one more intriguing than the last. One of the most popular theories suggests that Devil's Hole might be connected to an ancient civilization. Some researchers believe the strange formations captured by the drone are remnants of a long-lost world that time forgot. Beneath the deserts of Nevada and California, vast cave systems could have housed ancient societies hidden away from the rest of the world. These theories are valid, as human history is filled with stories of lost cities and forgotten cultures. Devil's Hole could be another piece of that puzzle. These civilizations may have had access to knowledge and technology far beyond what we understand today. The strange disturbances in the water and the peculiar shadows could be signs of advanced mechanisms left behind by a society that vanished thousands of years ago. If that's the case, something must have happened to them. They may have descended deeper into the earth, retreating into the shadows to escape a catastrophe. They could have left secrets we are only now beginning to uncover. It's possible that deep within Devil's Hole lies the key to a civilization we've never known, a civilization that may have understood the world in ways we can only dream of. Of course, not all theories are rooted in science or history. For many, the footage captured in Devil's Hole taps into something far more primal: fear of the unknown. The strange happenings at Devil's Hole may not just be scientific phenomena, but something more supernatural. Some believers in the paranormal argue that Devil's Hole is a gateway to another dimension, a portal between our world and the afterlife. The unexplained noises, strange water movements, and sudden temperature drops reported by the research team all point to something otherworldly. The cave could be haunted by the spirits of those who perished there, or perhaps by something far older and more powerful. The region around Devil's Hole is steeped in Native American mythology, with some tribes believing the area to be sacred and dangerous. According to legend, spirits guard the entrance to the underworld, punishing anyone who ventures too close. These ancient stories might be more than just myths. The drone may have disturbed something that was meant to stay hidden. It's enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. While many dismiss these theories as fantasy, others believe Devil's Hole proves there's much more to our world than we understand. While the supernatural explanation draws on ghostly possibilities, others believe the answer might lie in something more tangible, but no less mysterious. Some suggest a cryptid might be living in Devil's Hole. Cryptids, whose existence has not been scientifically proven, have fascinated humans for centuries. From the Loch Ness Monster to Bigfoot, stories of hidden beasts have persisted across cultures and time. Devil's Hole may be home to a creature never seen before. Theorists point to strange movements in the footage, resembling ripples caused by a large, moving entity. An undiscovered aquatic creature may have been living in the deep, isolated waters of Devil's Hole, undetected by human eyes until now. Interestingly, cryptids like the Loch Ness Monster are often linked to underwater caves and deep, isolated bodies of water. Devil's Hole could be hiding something similar. A creature thriving in such an environment raises questions. Could it be dangerous, or simply living undisturbed by the outside world? Why has it remained hidden for so long? Some wonder if this creature could be intelligent, skillfully evading capture or detection for years. No modern mystery is complete without a conspiracy theory. As public curiosity grew, many began to question the role of the government in this affair. The sudden increase in security at Devil's Hole raised further suspicion. Some theorists suggest that the government is covering up the true nature of Devil's Hole, possibly because the findings could challenge the very foundations of our understanding of the world. Many believe the truth is too big to reveal, whether it involves extraterrestrial evidence, cryptids, or ancient civilizations. The reaction could lead to panic or fear if something unexplainable lurked beneath the surface. Governments have often kept secrets under the guise of national security, and this might be no different. Others speculate that the drone captured evidence of government experiments gone wrong. Devil's Hole might be a testing ground for new technology, biological research, or even weapons development, and the footage might have revealed something unexpected that they are now trying to hide. Despite these theories, one thing is clear: no one truly knows what's happening beneath the surface of Devil's Hole. Whether it's a lost civilization, a supernatural force, a hidden creature, or a government cover-up, the mystery remains unsolved. And that is what makes Devil's Hole both terrifying and captivating. What do you think? Could there be a truth to these theories, or are they just the result of our imaginations running wild? Is it possible that Devil's Hole holds the answers to questions we've been asking for centuries? Or is it a reminder that some places are better left unexplored? Let us know in the comments. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.